Social Zoom Factor, episode 279.
Driving results in business these days takes something special. It's a combination of the right info and the right energy. Pam Moore has both and is here to help you avoid the pitfalls and guide your business and life by leveraging and integrating social media, powerful branding, and digital marketing. Welcome to Social Zoom Factor. Now it's time to live life zoomed.
Your great idea needs a great platform to shine. The way you brand your idea can make all the difference. Small details such as your domain name matter a lot. It's your online identity, so it needs to create an impact. I've decided to brand myself using a .online domain extension. A web address as simple as pam.online will benefit my overall branding in big ways. It's short and simple, which makes it memorable. You too can build a stellar brand on a .online domain extension. Check out get.online/Pam and use the coupon code PAM to save 90% on your domain name for the first year. Again, that's get.online/Pam, coupon code PAM. Hey there, Zoomers, and welcome to Social Zoom Factor. This is your host, Pam Moore. All right, today I am going to be teaching you how to get your social media and digital marketing budget approved. Now, I am going to be giving you some solid strategies, including 5 things you should not do, 5 things you must do, plus 1 powerful foundation. Now, before I dig into it, I want you to know that you can trust me with this. I spent 15 years working in corporate America in mostly enterprise brands, as well as some SMB type of businesses. I worked in mostly enterprise tech, enterprise hardware, software, and services. I ran multi-billion-dollar product lines all the way down to working in companies that were startup and had no budget. Okay. It didn't matter where I worked, how big the company was. I was always having to get my team on board with my plan, my budget approved. And so that's why you'll see my content. You can look at my podcast, my blog, everything I put out. It's all about structuring your plan, getting approval, making sure everything you're doing is maximum value. Like our time, our money is valuable. And in the world today with so much noise and everything going on, we don't want to waste our time, right? And so that's why so many executives right now, if anything they're approving, they want to make sure they're going to get a high ROI out of it. The world is a crazy place. So as marketers, oftentimes marketers will think, well, this is the best plan on the planet. Why would they not approve it? I'm going to talk through some things today that are likely going to help you with that. And our agency, Marketing Nuts, I started it 10 years ago after working 15 years in corporate America. And so that's basically what we do now. We help businesses of all size, from startups to enterprise brands. We help them achieve a positive ROI. So we do training and consulting, and we really help optimize conversion. So we do that through digital platforms. We do that through content marketing. We do that through personal branding, and a boatload of other things. But that's what we do, is help brands achieve an ROI. And with that comes a plan. So I know how to help you get your budget approved. Let's dig in. Number 1 foundation is you need to know and build your foundation of knowledge and direction. What I mean by this, if you don't know where you're going, you're going to wind up somewhere else. So you need to know, what are your goals? What are your objectives? What is the audience that you're targeting? Who is that target buyer? Go grab my brand new buyer persona worksheet. Go to pam.online/mybuyer, and that will help you nail your target customer so you can make sure everything you're doing with digital and social marketing is focused on the needs of the right audience. I'm telling you, the riches are in the niches. And if you don't know your audience, everything I'm talking about today is all for nothing. So go to pam.online/mybuyer, and that is your first step. You must know your audience. And then you're looking at, as far as your foundation and your direction, how much time do you have? What talent do you have? What are the skills of your team? What is the state of your digital and social platform? What content do you have? Do you know about, the larger ecosystem that's out there with digital and social? What gaps do you have internally? How are you best going to utilize your strengths? Do you need the help of a third-party consulting arm or agency to help you get started? You have to know and build that foundation to succeed. And, one of the key ways that people fail when it comes to leveraging online marketing to grow their business is they're impatient, right? They're impatient. They don't take time to plan, and they're not aligned to the needs of their audience. So let's talk about the 5 things first that you should not do. I promise these 5 things are going to help give you peace. So many people, when we do training on this topic, by the time we get done with these, they're like, oh, I feel so much better now. Number 1 is do not try boiling the ocean, right? Don't overpromise the C-suite, your executives, your board of directors, results that you can't deliver. You need to instead focus on the backyard pond, okay? Don't overpromise. I have seen so many marketers get fired, lose their jobs because of overpromising. You think when you're in the room with those executives trying to get your budget approved, I don't know why marketers think, well, I'll just promise I can do everything because at least I'm getting the budget. And then they end up completely failing because it was not a realistic plan. So it's got to be realistic. Number 2, do not fake it until you make it. If you need help, ask. Don't pretend you and your team have the skills if you don't have the skills. If you need to get training to up-level your skills, you should be the first one raising your hand and saying, I'm about 30% there. I want to get to 100%. Here's the recommended training, or here's a consultant that's going to come in and help us to succeed. I promise you, by you bringing in somebody else or the right training course to get you where you need to go, you are going to succeed not only in your current job, but in your career so much better. I would not be where I am today if I would not have been humble and had amazing mentors in my 15-year corporate career that took me under their wing and taught me everything from the data center to just how to work in a corporate world. So do not be shy. And number 3, don't work in a bubble. Collaboration is key. Make sure that you involve your key stakeholders and extended team members on your team. People will want to be part of what you're doing if you're doing it right. So don't go lock yourself up in a dark room, for 3 months doing everything yourself on your boil the ocean plan. Okay, that's a recipe for disaster. Instead, I want you to imagine yourself. You might be in a little paddle boat in a pond that you maybe even feel like you lost your paddle right now, okay? That's okay. You can go make one. We're marketers. We're creative. But you need a few friends to help you get across the pond, to help you build that paddle. So that's what I want to look at. I want you to look at this. You don't need to be the expert of everything. You need your friends to get in that paddle boat with you so you can, over time, upgrade that boat. All right? So number 4, don't assume that your management and stakeholders truly understand social media. Chances are highly likely that they don't. So you want to create an environment that it's okay for people to share their weaknesses, that it's okay for them to ask questions. Okay. You need to make it an open and real environment that people can feel okay with that. Like, it's okay to not be an expert. Conduct a survey if you need to with your team members, where it can be somewhat private, but you need to make sure you're able to somebody needs to be able to have those conversations with your management and your stakeholders. Okay. If they don't understand this, and if they're not comfortable having the conversation with you, you may need to bring in a third party. So we do a lot of that with our clients, where we'll do a lot of one-on-one executive coaching, helping executives come come up to speed on these things because they're trying to lead an organization and they may not feel comfortable talking about their weaknesses with the person they just hired to lead marketing. So you really have to look at the dynamics of your organization and assess what's going on at not just a technical level, but at a human and personal level. I promise it will pay off. And I encourage you to also check out, I just did episode 278. That's just a short, like 10-minute episode that talks about the 3 reasons that your budget is likely not getting approved. And it talks a little bit more about that in detail. And then number 5 is don't be impatient. And then as a result, fall to random acts of marketing. Okay. Don't do this. So this includes chasing technical shiny objects. I know we're all guilty from time to time, or getting like a really, really bad case of FOMO. So fear of missing out. We all get that. I mean, as marketers, technical nerds, which I proudly call myself, it's okay sometimes. There's tools that come out and I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm going to go spend my weekend till 2 a.m. Saturday night playing with this thing. But this works for some people and influencers to do this all the time who are building a brand. And they're building a brand around chasing shiny objects and helping the rest of us avoid fear of missing out. However, unless that's your day job, smart marketers know when to jump on something new, and we know when it's simply a shiny object. And that's why, it's got to be aligned to the needs of your audience, and why I mentioned that first, because if your audience isn't on that particular social network, let's say it's a social network that just launched, if your audience isn't hanging out there, there's no reason for you to be hanging out there at this time as a top priority. So depending on what else you got going on. So just make sure that you are not impatient, because if you're impatient, then that's when you end up agreeing to random acts of marketing and shiny objects and failure. So don't let executives and stakeholders push you to behaviors and tactics that will not drive a real and measurable result. You must take time to plan, to be patient with achieving the desired outcomes that you're wanting to achieve. And you need to be willing to push back to your management who's trying to help you get something done in an unrealistic time frame. You need to be strong and communicate. I need more time to do this right. I want to make sure we have a positive ROI on everything we're doing. Okay, so I just shared with you number 1 foundation plus 5 things you should not do if you're wanting to get that budget approved. Now we're going to go into the 5 things you must do. And before we go there, I need to have you hear a few words from our sponsor. Please give them a listen. They are what keeps this podcast zooming. I will be right back. To achieve success better than anyone else, you must stand out. And you don't always have to do extravagant things to make your mark. Sometimes taking care of the smaller yet significant details is enough to do the trick. For example, one of the first decisions you'll be making for your business or personal brand is deciding its domain name. A small detail, but it hosts amazing branding benefits. I am going to build my presence on a .online domain. .online has a global appeal, is relevant, keyword rich, and most importantly, it tells your users that you were online, and it helps you achieve the objective of standing out. .online can be used for your primary website, your blog, portfolio, or anything else you dare to dream up. The versatile nature of the domain extension makes it easy to adapt by any industry. To learn more, check out get.online/Pam. Again, that's get.online/Pam. I'm back. Okay, let's dig into now the 5 things that you must do if you are wanting to get your social media, your digital marketing, or your branding budget approved. Number 1, define your mission and what you are going to achieve approval for in a 6-month time frame. Now, by this, I mean you are going to start with a smaller scope. So the biggest mistake that I see marketers in all sizes of businesses, all industries do, is they're focused on the ocean instead of the backyard pond and the paddle boat. Trust me, you need to start with obtaining executive stakeholder buy-in approval. It is not necessarily to boil the ocean. The chance of you getting approval for a budget of 18 to 24 months is about slim to zero. It particularly if your business is new to social media and your executives don't understand what they're approving to begin with. So that's why a better strategy is that you start with a smaller scope. Start with a well-defined plan that is combined with a 6-month plan for execution. So when you deliver the plan with the goals, with the objectives, you include an outline of what you're going to do the first 6 months. Okay, that's what you're looking to get approval from. Now, this does not mean that you're going to become the best social digital business in the next 6 months. It simply means that you are going to set goals and objectives that can, number one, be achieved and that can be measured. So the goal is that you establish these measurable and achievable goals that will help you win the support and the trust of your management as quickly as you can. Because the reason you struggle with getting your budget approved is because you don't have the trust and they likely don't understand what it is that you're doing and the impact it's going to have on the business. So that's why your first goals are enabling you to prove yourself, to earn that trust. And then when you do this, it enables you to work and shift that internal mindset that must take place inside your organization to get your broader team on board. Okay. And if you struggle with this, if you don't know how to do this, this is what our agency does for our day jobs. Like we can come in, facilitate those conversations, get everybody on board, rallied around the same goals, and make you the superstar in the process. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Now, number 2, select 1 to 3 strategic top business goals that you want to align to social media. So these are things where you know that social media can have an impact. Now, if you don't know what those goals are, you may need to get help in setting those goals. Do not throw together a plan if you're not confident that you can achieve it. And this is why earlier when I said don't fake it until you make it, if you don't know how to achieve the goals, you better get in somebody to help you. Even if it's just a consultant or an agency that does, what I explain we do, they can come in and empower your team and empower you to build that plan. Like when we go and we work with clients, we don't have to stay there the next 3 years with them. We can be in and out in a matter of a few months if they have a talented team that can take those things over. So do not be afraid to ask for help, because if you can't achieve the goals, then you're not likely going to be able to stay in your job very long anyway, if this is what you were hired to do. Okay. I'm sorry. I have to give you some tough love because I want you to get this approval and I want you to be successful. So number 3 thing that you need to do is you need to develop your plan. Now we have a great outline for you to do this. Go to pam.online/myplan, and it has the 8 key steps to develop a social business plan. Now I will be over the next, like I have said in the last episode, this is a series that I'm doing on strategic planning. So I encourage you to, keep listening to the episodes that are kind of around this episode. 280, we're going to dig into this a little bit more, and I'm going to share with you the steps you need to take to 7 things that must be in your social media plan. So stay tuned for that. But you can go download the 8 steps to develop your plan at pam.online/myplan. Okay. But you need to make sure, as I state in number 4 thing to do, make sure that you are selecting and measuring the right KPIs. So you need to have key performance indicators and make sure that you are speaking the same language as your executives. Don't just walk into their office and start talking about community-focused KPIs. Like, okay, we grew our community this much and we're going to have this many followers and, we're going to get this many likes and views. That's not what they care about. They want to know what is the impact to the business. right? And so that's where you need to make sure whatever person you're speaking to, that you're talking about the KPIs that matter to them. And then number 5 thing that you must do is you need to get to work. The best way to get the continued budget approval is to show up, to show results, and to show results fast. And no, you may not have sales overnight, but make sure that you set goals with those milestones of building the foundation, establishing your content, your visual marketing strategy, aligning to your business goals, and the list goes on. But these are things that must be done. And once you know who you are, you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, you know your gaps, you know who you need to hire, you're utilizing resources, you're engaging and empowering your team, and you're doing the research that's needed, and you're working on filling the gaps, then it just becomes plan your work and work your plan. That's what you got to do. You have to plan the things that need to be done. You're not going to get there overnight. So if you need help, reach out to us. I'd be happy to help you. This podcast is loaded with episodes to help you with everything we've talked about. Download the resources that I mentioned. I promise they'll help you. And, if you're listening to this on whatever app, you can just look at the notes for this episode, and everything I spoke about for you to download and access to help you with your plan and your budget will be listed in the notes for this episode. So you can just link directly to them. But I wish you the best success. That's a wrap.
If you're ready to Zoom your business and Zoom your life, then don't let the end of this episode be the end of your journey. Visit socialzoomfactor.com/Zoom for incredible free resources and guides. And be sure to join the Social Zoom Factor mailing list so you never miss an episode. We'll see you next time on Social Zoom Factor.